Hey there, Heather. Hello there. It's Jeff Carter Diamond. Welcome you to another Stone Cold Hockey 1978-79 Boston Bruins campaign. As I try to take the Boston Bruins and win the cup so that Don Cherry doesn't get fired. Our 60 points are the best team, the Wales Conference by an inch, tied for third in the NHL behind the Rangers and the Islanders. Surprisingly, Montreal's only had 59 points. They've slowed down a bit. Yeah, so Rangers 72, Islanders 69, Flyers 60. But man, Patrick is stacked. Atlanta has 57 points. They would be winning the Smythe. They would be second in the Adams and second in the Norris. But they're in the same division as the Rangers, Islanders, and Philly. And unfortunately, top three teams move on to the playoffs every year. I mean, you know what I mean. So the Rangers, Chicago, Boston, and Montreal for winning their divisions. Yeah, the original six. Wow. All four divisions are being led by original six teams. Would make the quarterfinals automatically, whereas the other teams, Islanders, Philly, Vancouver, St. Louis, Buffalo, Minnesota, LA, Washington would play for. I think they'll play right now. In the standings, um, everything's the same except for Pittsburgh. He could jump in. They got two games in hand on both LA and Washington, so Pittsburgh could make things happen. But Buffalo's 14. We're 17-5-3 at home, 9-12-5 on the road. Yikes. Highlights: 27 hat tricks. Keisha Bernard scored a hat trick, but they still lost. Becoming the third person to do that. The highest scoring game with a 38, Detroit Atlanta from January 28th, when it was a 13-goal game and that it was Battle Royale. Atlanta was up 6-3, but gave up four straight goals to Larson, Nedowski, Thompson, and Andre St. Laurent. So if they lose the playoffs, that's why. St. Louis, Minnesota, 33 score. Stanikowski was November the 1st. And a 32 score, St. Louis, Minnesota, January 3rd. Two other scores, Atlanta, Detroit, December 13th, going to 31, and Washington, Detroit, January 6th. So anyway, we're going to play Chicago, who have basically won, almost have as many wins, losses, and ties as the same. Chicago comes to town; they're winning their division, and they have 20-0 in that. We have Shield Shabera backup, and they have 20-0, the legend. Mike Pfizer is the backup. Gary Cheever's the one seed. Jim Petty third in goalies. And all that. So anyway, for Chicago, they have Ivan Bodriev, the guy from Yugoslavia, Ted Boley, John Marks, Stan Mikita, still in the NHL after so many years, and he's winding down his career. Bob Murray, who would soon be a coach, I think. Grant Mulvey, Reg Kerr. Sounds like someone from the 1920s, and kind of is. J.P. Borlo, me. Darcy Rhoda, Cliff Coral. I forgot what his role was. Cliff Coral, 70s. Alan Dagg, Phil Russell, Tim Higgins, Mike Shaker Walton. Mike Walton's all everywhere. Oh, we traded him to like Chicago, so we don't have Shaker anymore. Okay. Doug Wilson, back in the early days before he would become Chicago's defenseman of the 80s. Mike O'Connell, Jim Harrison, Bob Kelly, Dave Logan, Doug Hicks, Keith Magnuson, who would die in an auto accident next to Rob Ramage. And they don't have Tom Lysiak or Greg Fox anymore, which sucks. Boston, we have Rick Middleton, who we fleeced for the Rangers for Ken Hodge Sr., Peter McNabb, great player and great color commentator who died of cancer, Adam Wensick, gentleman Sean Martell, who we also fleeced from the Rangers, Wayne Cashman, 2 goals in Game 7 of the real-life Game 7 semifinal loss to the the Habs, Taz O'Reilly, Don Marcotte, Bobby Schmaltz, Al Secord before he went to the Hawks, Bob Miller, who looks like Screech from Saved by the Bell, Dwight Foster, Kitchener, former Kitchener Ranger, Al Sims, defenseman Brad Park, who we also got from the Rangers in 1975, Dick Redmond, Rick Smith, Gary Doak, Stan Jonathan, Tom Songen, Dennis O'Brien, Mike Milbury before he was the guy who bashed the fan in New York with his own shoe, Bill Bennett. Here we go. Yeah, we don't have Shaker anywhere. Fuck. 3 minutes later. Red dies because we're at home. Damn. Much later. No. Much later. No. Four minutes later. Enforcer, aggression. There's a fight. It's Bob Kelly and Terry O'Reilly. Of course there'll be a fight. Still no score. Double hit. Mike. 2 minutes later. Bob Miller. Chicago Skiers. John Marks from O'Connell. His 16th makes it 1-0. John Marks, number 1. Aggression. I've been a major in Chicago, and that's Alan Daigle. So we have a chance. And no, I don't think he's related to Alex. We have 5 minutes to score goals. Third line, running our clock. Violating Cashman. Tied. Al Worthy for the 6th and McNabb 2-1. Yeah, I forgot to mention about the goal scoring. All that. Okay. Well, we scored 2 goals on that power play, so that's pretty good. Marcotte and Secord. That's what you get for taking a dumb penalty like that. So just a 2 minutes later. Boston, no. Stan Mikita from Stan Mikita's Donuts. Peter Pumpkin Eater, his 29th from Gwensick in Middleton. Mercer? Much later. Dennis O'Brien. They score Bobby Murray, Badger Bob Murray, his 11 from Bully and Daigle. 3-2. What? Pressure? I know they go Chicago and Hicks will be off for 5 minutes, so now we can score as much as we want. Or maybe not. Twice, but they fail it. We win 3-2. Chicago's now 17, 17, and 16. All 5 goals were scored on the power play. Well, they had 2 5-minute majors. Daigle and Hicks. Daigle should not have played in the game. At major, you're gone. 3-2. Well, anyway. On to the next day. We got a game on Saturday night. Atlanta beat Chicago. Chicago didn't tie. It would be funny to see them 17-17-17. Rangers lose to LA. Wow. Minnesota beats Buffalo. That helps us out. Pittsburgh beats Detroit. St. Louis beats Colorado. Montreal, Toronto. Montreal wins. Washington beats Vancouver. We're going to face the Cupcakes. And Jim Petty is going to come in net against Billy Smith. So, yeah, Petty is going to be in net. Cheever's kind of sore. Billy Smith, the backup. Chico's there, but Billy Smith also is just as good. Rick Middleton. Oh, yeah. We don't. Sorry. Mike Bossy, the ever perpetual 50 goal scorer for the Islanders, who would have to retire because of back injury. He probably would have the goal scoring record, not Gretzky. Trottier, pretty good centerman and First Nations. Clark Gillies, the big bully first round pick in 74. Denny Potvin, the first pick in 1973. They needed a defenseman. Bob Bourne, pretty good player. Wayne Merrick, Bob Nystrom, the guy who scored the cup winning goal in 1980. John Tonelli, who passed Nystrom the puck. Mike Kosicki, Gary Howitt. Billy Harris, the first ever Islander pick in 1972. Lauren Henning, who's okay. Stephen Pearson, Dave Lewis, who went to LA for Butch Goring. Ed Westfall, original Islander, like Boston, he had won 2 cups with them. Bob Lorimer, Pat Price, Jerry Hart, Bert Marshall, Bertie Hansen, and Hector Marini. Question. There's a fight, and it's Animal and Pat Price. Well, that actually hurts us more because Wenzek's a decent player. Penalty on Schmaltz, but others' attack gets knocked down by 1. And another penalty. Milbury, you idiot. Another penalty is Rattel. But they still can't score on us. Can't score. So somehow, in some way, we took 3 penalties in a row, but we still won. We still won. Yeah, the others have to go 23-7 to get their full mark from the real mark. We have to be 16, 6, and 6. 3 minutes later. Milbury. And they score. Four minutes later. Boston Skiers. MacArthur Park has 8 from Miller and Middleton. 8, 18, 28. That's a weird number combination. 6 minutes later. Yeah. Well, we got hit hard. But it will be Howitt for 2. And Cashman can't score. So we're down 2-1. And Doak couldn't score. 5 minutes later. They get another penalty. Westfall. Our attack and power play gets produced. We've just a tie. Marcotte. Fight. It's O'Reilly and Nystrom. So we actually take Nystrom away from them. And nothing happens. Empty net split. I think he scores and release the cupcakes. Around. Bought them with the assist. And Cashman. Well, if Cashman scored his 18 from Sims and Redmond, it's not over yet. Now it is. We lose 3-2 against the Islanders. Kasicki, the hero. So our next game is, guess what? Oh, wait a minute. We're playing 3 straight days? Oh, there was no game Tuesday. Okay. So we would play Vancouver, but because we lost, we ought to play. We win 5-3. Bromley losing to Gary Cheevers. Nelson. Bauer with a pair of goals. Kitchener. Look it up. Ron Bauer was a Kitchener Ranger. Fat Lever's 21st. Boston goes by McNabb. Rick Smith, McNabb, Miller. So we beat Vancouver, so we've got to play one more game. I guess it's All-Star Week or something because there's no games. Yeah, they call it All-Star Week. Okay, whatever. 9-0 Islanders. So our next game's against the Rangers. And a lot of Bruins will go back to New York. So we go to New York to face the Rangers, and our boy Cheevers is in net against John Davidson, who was the starter for the Rangers. Wayne Thomas and Doug Sotar were the backups, but yeah. Jerry Cheevers playing John Davidson. Boston, New York. What should have been the 1979 Stanley Cup Finals. The Rangers, you know, are okay and all that. But yeah, Phil Esposito, former Bruins icon with the goal scoring. Pat Hickey, Anders Hedberg, who they fleeced from the Jets in the WHA. Oh, Nielsen they got from the WHA Jets. Ron Duguay, the fashion plate. Mike McEwen, who would soon be under Don Cherry's control in Colorado and pissing him off. Ronnie Grashner, coming young and piece streak of piss or whatever. Wilka Check, Kitchener. Don Murdoch, great player, bad drug problem. Steve Fickers around, former Calder Trophy winner. Dean Telefus, Dave and Don Maloney, one of them Kitchener. Lucy and Debois. Carol Fadday, former Bruin. Pierre Plante, weird name. Mario Marowa, okay. Eddie Johnstone, icon. Nick Vitiyu, the policeman. Dave Farish, Mike Corney, and Dan Clark. So what did we do in the first game? We score. Alvor Secord, his seventh from Park. 1-0. 3 minutes later. They have a chance. Uh-oh, he's rattled. Oh boy. One hit. Oh boy. 5 minutes later. Nope. They fucked it up. So 1-0 Bruins after 20. 4 minutes later. We score. Peter Puckin Eater. His 32nd from Milbury and Taz Milbury. 4 minutes later. Oh boy. We score. Bad name for 2 minutes later. Rangers can't do it. 4 minutes later. Hit by his former team. They score. Nope. 2 minutes later. They score. Espo from Double M. 2 after 2. Boston Gold by Jelliman Sean. We score. Jelliman Sean Rattel is 23rd in New York from Bennett and Middleton. Ranger fans, boo, boo. 4 minutes later. We score. McNabb second from Milbury and Wensek. It's 4-2. Much later, we're killing the clock. Woo! Crashman scores his 19th from Middleton and Rattel. Makes it 5-2. Rangers are in deep trouble. And we win 5-2. What a third period for us. Cheevers does his job. Davidson does not. We beat the Rangers. Why can't we beat the others? Faraday and Espel scoring against their former clubs. Secord, McNabb, Cashman, not so much. And John Rattel, yes. So we win 5-2. We're got 29-18 and 8. Yay, Mom. And then, well, we have to head to Philly. That'll be tomorrow. Next time, we'll be Philly. Our summary, the Islanders lead the Rangers by 1 point. Well, if we lost to the Rangers, they would have been in first. Atlanta now has sneaked into third place ahead of Philadelphia in the Patrick. Yeah, Philly would be winning the Smythe. They would be third in our division and second in the Norris. Chicago, Vancouver, St. Louis, it looks like it's basically, they're safe. But the question is, who will win the Smythe? Colorado's like, what the fuck? Boston and Buffalo fighting the Adams, Minnesota over Toronto. Montreal looking good. LA, Washington, Pittsburgh are fighting for second place. Goal scoring, Guy Chouinard, 41, Marcel, 40, Lafleur, 36. Peter McNabb's actually tied for fourth. Lovely. Bossy fail. Brian Sutherland. Points wise, Trottier leads Dion and Bobby McMillan, who's third. McNabb seventh in points. Penalty minutes wise, Tiger Williams 222, Randy Holtz second, Dave Schultz third. O'Reilly's eighth. Oh boy. Goes against Billy Smith number one, Ken Dryden number two, John Davison number three, and we crushed them 5-2. Our boys, Cheebers is 15th on this list. 15th. Yeah. Michelle Platts got 2 wins. Bill Olchek has 5. Who has the other Colorado win? I don't know. But it don't matter. We're fighting it up for the division. And don't you forget it. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.